Well, I told it to comfort a friend who was coping with the loss of her first dog and wasn't doing well, and had announced to the world that she was never going to have another dog again. And I just thought that was wrong. I think, I often tell people who have a dog that as their dog is passing, the one regret, the one concern your dog has is that you don't have another dog. Your dog wants you to be with a dog. They think that's a natural state of affairs for human beings. And they don't understand why you don't have another dog standing by to take the reins when your dog passes. That's what he or she wants the most. And so I told a story about this dog that never dies, just continues to reincarnate and to learn lessons from each life that enable him to eventually find his way back to and save his original boy. And the reason I told the story was to just convince her that the same love you have from your dog is available to you in other dogs. Just open your heart and you'll find it's the same love. And it's possible it's the same dog. I've had many people say, "Oh no, I know this dog is a reincarnated version of my last dog." And so when I told the story, it was successful in terms of getting another dog. But the larger thing is, she said, "You have to write that as a book. That's got to be your next book." And I did. The headspace wasn't difficult. A dog is an eternally optimistic, joyous creature. You mentioned Toby living with Sonora. Toby doesn't realize that he's living in a hoarding situation. He doesn't realize that, as far as the authorities are concerned, he's being abused. He just thinks he lives with a bunch of other dogs, many of them in cages. They're all barking. It smells wonderful. It smells like dogs. And he's happy because that's how dogs are. That part wasn't hard. The difficulty was mastering the narrative, because I set out rules for myself saying that dogs think in terms of metaphors, so that a dog will explain something to himself. Like a dog knows what a car ride is, but kind of any vehicle, any sort of conveyance becomes car ride, because it has kind of the same thing. The smells come in through the window, even if they're closed, and you're there, bounced around, and then you get out and you're somewhere else. That's a car ride. So I set out rules for like that, and I immediately ran into trouble because in my telling, the dog approaches a road, and I thought, well, no. Would a dog know what a road is? What would a dog? I need to convey to the reader that the dog is crossing a road, but I don't want to use the word road, because how would a dog know what that is? So what is it? It's analogous to a river, I guess. No, it's not. It's not moving water. You wouldn't think it was a river. I mean, I really got bogged down, and then I had to come up with a construct for how to make this narrative voice stay true to being a dog of limited understanding, limited symbols, but yet explain where we are in the world. And it was very difficult at first. And I've written more than 20 books from a dog's point of view now. So I got much better at it. It comes much more naturally, but I still trip myself up. I came up with the story, and in my original telling, because I knew there's a difference between air centers and ground centers, and ground scenting dogs will have their nose to the ground. So a ground center dog will lower its nose to the ground and is smelling. If it's tracking a human being, the dog will smell the skin cells that we shed constantly as we move. And if it's an air center, the dog is actually picking up the same things, but these are cells that are floating on the wind. Or if you wear a particular cologne, you're going to be tracking that for miles as far as the dog is concerned. Your dog can smell you a long way out. And so I knew I needed that because of where that was going to fit in the plot. So I got a police dog, and it was a German Shepherd. The German Shepherd is very important. Ellie is a very important element in the book, and because a lot of the skills that Ellie learns are what enable the dog eventually to find his way back to his boy. So it was an evolution of, okay, I need this. I need these things to happen. What breeds would make sense for that? I always, when I start to write a book, I always know how it's going to end. In fact, I very often know what the last line of the book is going to be. That's how thoroughly I outline. That's my way of doing it. Other people are much more freewheeling. I don't see how they do that. I've got to have everything spelled out in my outline document, like it's a blueprint for a house.